This so I don't know if some of y'all know this, some of y'all don't. Like, my wife doesn't listen. We put these on YouTube, right? My wife doesn't listen to our videos. I told her not to, because she would listen to the beginning, and she would be like, "That's wrong. You shouldn't say that." Da da da. I'm like, "You gotta wait for it. Like, you got them building up, And then, and then to the end. Anyway, this week she watched. She called me. Went to Memphis, Chattanooga, one of them, and on the way back, she said, "Hey, I listened to your video last week," and I go, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Man, we're gonna get into it at 9 o'clock this morning." I'm just being honest, and she goes, "It was really good." And y'all know there's a trick there, right? I'm waiting for the but. And she said, no, it was really good. I was like, "Okay." And that was it. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Well, good." I said, "I may let you start listening to them again, kind of thing, joking." And so last week, if you were able to be here, if not, was really talking about our expectation of what we receive from God. We look for an answered prayer, and our God is much greater than that. That He can not answer our prayers, but He answers His prayers we've never asked for. We didn't even know for things that we needed or that we were going to need along into our destiny that He's already set up, and He's going to bless us and give us 100 times more than our expectation could ever fathom. And in the same season is what we talked about last week. So this week is average is the enemy of greatness. Average is the enemy of greatness. Y'all remember, I played basketball in high school. My son, Carter, is a baseball player. Looks like a basketball player, plays baseball. And I used to love, there's so many good players back then, really. Guys could throw elbows. I mean, it was like playing basketball with your dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just rough. Now you can't do any of that stuff. You don't play like that. But the players were so much better. I mean, I remember when Shaq came on the scene. I mean, I had his jersey. I had Penny Hardaway's jersey. I had, of course, Jordan had his jersey. Had all these people's jersey. And then I had an Allen Iverson jersey. That dude was just raw. Like, you could just tell, you can tell today if you looked at him. Like, he learned it the hard way. Like, you can just feel that energy from him. And y'all remember one of the things he's more known for is his interview. Practice? Practice. Go to practice? People were, he caught a lot of flack from that, right? Because if you look at him, he looks like he's somebody that's going to not go roll along with everybody else. He going to do him. And that was the interpretation of it, I think. And that was like your media went off, blew that up, and But you go back and I thought about this, and here's the reason why. It wasn't so much the fact that I think, from everybody else's perspective, it like he was just being objective and doing all this stuff. Reality was, I think Allen, speaking for him, he was like, basically, you don't know, but I practiced 4 hours before practice started. I came back and practiced 4 hours in the middle of the night. I've practiced and I've worked harder than anybody that I'm going to be on the floor with. Kobe's a great one. Y'all see those videos and stuff, right? I love it. Because you listen to like Kobe, when you listen to some of his stuff, his speeches and stuff he talked about, and his common thread was like, I'm going to be the best on the court. If that means that I have to go work throughout the night, that's what I'm going to do. I read a thing about him on his schedule where he figured out like he had to have this time, then he had to have a rest time to eat, and then he could practice. Like he had to spread out his 2-hour practices because he had to allow time for his body to recover, and get all his vitamins, get all his stuff in, and then he would go back. So he realized if he got up at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m., he would be able to add an additional section of that in there to get another 2-hour practice in. I mean, it's just all these thoughts there. You see what I'm saying? When you look at these people that, like an Allen Iverson, the dude can just shoot your eyes out. I mean, he break ankles. I mean, it's crazy. But the obsession and the focus and the complete surrender to being that person, didn't care about if James went and practiced or Scott went and practiced or Jason went and practiced or whatever. Like, I'm not worried about you. I'm telling you, when I get on that court, bruh, and anything where I see when I'm on that court, if I see where I lack in an area, I'm going to work on that tonight, not tomorrow. You see. I'm not waiting till, well, coach says we don't have practice till next Monday, and it's Thursday. Man, I need a break. No, bro, I just got 4 more days of practice. You see the different thought process there, you know? You're not thinking, well, I need a break. You're thinking, cool, I don't have to practice with the average. I don't have to practice with the ones that are whining and complaining because they're tired and their body aches and everything. I get the court all to myself, and I'm going to put in my work. So when I show back up on Monday, by my pure drive and my adrenaline and my will to be the best, is going to surpass everybody else because my body's going to recover and Nash is going to recover. And you may think, well, why in the world is he going off on that path? Because when somebody asked me, hey, Ryan, do you ever want to drink? Does this bother you? Do whatever. I feel the same feeling that Alan felt. I'm like, drink? Drink? What? You an idiot? You know? Is it going to make you mad if I drink? No, it makes me mad that you'd even suggest that I have a problem with it or that I want one. If I'm being super transparent, maybe I'm not telling you or showing you enough that isn't my identity, bruh. Maybe I'm failing because if I was more persuasive or showed more of who I am as a person, you would have never asked me that. Because you would have already knew. So maybe I failed you. That's a wild perspective, right? Where you look at something and you're looking, and I want to talk about this because I think it's super important. Average is the enemy of greatness. And you think, well, that's, Ryan, you know, not everybody can be great. Not everybody, I know. Keep telling yourself that. Refocus. We have to refocus what the great is. See, that I've had to do this multiple times. I still have to do it. Great. What is greatness? Like, what is greatness to you? Being wealthy? That's fine. If that's God's plan for you. Because you can't be wealthy, whether you want to or not, unless God has that in plan for you, because He knows you'll be a great steward, and you will use that wealth for His kingdom. You will use that position of power on a stage or leading in a company as a CEO or an owner or whatever. He will give you that, not for a season, but long term, if you're a good steward of it. See, I could be chasing the financial part, and God says, like, Ryan, and that's why I've touched some like good times, but I didn't keep them. So why did I not do that? It just, God's like, Ryan, that's not the platform I have for you. Ultimately, to bring lost people to me, because that's the end goal. Go and make disciples. Our greatness, it may be fatherhood. It may not be fatherhood. I wish I had some kids. I know, but unfortunately, it may not be what God has for you. I want to be a preacher. I know, but it may not be what God has for you. We have to look at the different areas of our life, and if we're a construction guy, and we have a construction business, you can be great in that capacity and win more souls to Christ, the prevention of eternal hell, which also as a man takes the mama, takes the kids, takes the generational kids, you could lead one man to Christ and change 30 people. It's a numbers game. God may say, you know what, I know it's tough. You're roofing every day, you're a roofer. But if you were a great roofer that shared the word of Christ to everybody that got on that roof, because they can't get off the roof when they get there, it's going to take them a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't just they can get off that roof, but they're going to. But you could be an incredible witness to Christ. At the end of the day, Nick could have 20 people that he won to Christ, and then find out that 20 was tagged to another 80 family members over a generation, 2 generations, more than the guy that had $1 million house had everything that you thought you aspired to have, but when it came time to show your cards, to check your balances, when God checked it, he was like, that's my guy. That's the guy that used what I had. He was not content with being average. He took what he had and became great. I'm not average. I'm not content with being average. You guys should not be content. Now, this is where my wife would be like, pause, and then I'd get in trouble. Because I said the word content. That's an ugly word, right? Because it means like, we always think of money right quick, right? I mean, like, be content with what God's given you. Be content with your car. Be content with your house. This has nothing to do with that. It doesn't. I'm not talking about that kind of content. I'm saying we cannot be content with where we are with our walk with God. I can't be content with that because I've got to believe that God has something even greater for my life as an instrument to win others. Does that make sense? Like, we could just go to the house right now and we could hang around. Everybody here could say, man, I was part of a men's group this morning. There were 75, 80 people there. That was great. And that could be your greatest victory. This could be my greatest victory. But I serve a God to know that this could be just the scratch of the surface. Not for numbers, but for salvation. For conversions. To see our communities and stuff being evolved by you guys. Me and Brian had coffee here yesterday. And like, I saw 3 different guys that have been to Fight Club. And one of them said, I'll be back here soon, kind of deal. Like, I see those people out there. And I have such confidence because I think that those guys are hidden in certain places. Y'all are hidden in certain places where y'all are not content with being average, but you're looking to be great. Because you're not okay with just showing up at church when church starts and then just as quick as you can get to your car to huff and puff because the traffic's not moving quick enough. And you call that being a Christian. Like the guys that says, I'm not just okay with being okay. You say, why? Has anybody ever went through anything in here? Does anybody have any trauma that you've had? A dad, a mom, a job, abuse, divorce? Think about it, man. Divorce, molested, grief, bankruptcy. It's just average people hide those things. Great people use them for a strength. I can admit my failures because I'm going to put into practice the time and the energy to not be tricked twice, to not fail twice. Hopefully not on the same thing, right? When you look at this scripture here, whatever, I'm going to read this part. Again, I saw the Son, that the race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, or bread to the wise, or riches to the discerning, or favor to the skillful. Rather, time and chance happen to all of them. we all have an end. We all have an end, period. It's when you get to that, I don't want to get to the end because my end could be today. It could be today. We know people that you've lost and you're like, man, I can't, that guy was young. Like, I could be that guy. I don't want to be that guy, personally, but I could be that guy. Or I go to 80. Whichever one I go to, I can run a race with contentment and average, or I can run a race with boldness, drive, love, passion, intent, and an identity that is replicated through the offspring that I leave, but also the relationships that I build. The race is not to the swift. Just because somebody's faster than you, or stronger than you, or wiser than you, it doesn't necessarily mean their results are going to be better. Theirs will be better in a season. Yours are going to be better for eternity. God doesn't make you, the world can make you great at one thing. God can make you great at everything. So how can I be great at everything? How can I play all four sports and be awesome? Y'all know, y'all seen some of those people that's like, they could pick up anything, right? And like, it's like, oh my God, what can this, like this kid just has it, right? And then you got some people, they're just really good at golf, right? But when they throw a baseball, they look like a girl. Or they throw a football. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Like, I mean, stuff's a football, you throw it to them, and it's like you just threw a beehive at them, and they're like, you're sitting there thinking like, you're a grown man. What are you doing? And then when they throw it, it's like this, and you're like, what is that? You know?
What's wrong with that throw?
Yeah. Yeah. You saying somebody in here has that throw, and I apologize. But you're great. You don't have. But I can make fun of Stephen's football throw, okay? But then we could go play golf, and the guy could be a stud, and then maybe I'm not. Maybe. I'm not terrible, okay? Right? But life's that way too, guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, we get so fixated on one area of our life, and we chase this greatness that can be removed from us at any moment because it wasn't given to us by God. It's more likely given to us by this world and what we just put more time into. And I'm saying we serve a God that can actually make us great at a lot of things. Distractions can derail your destiny. Again, I saw in the Son, the race is not to the swift, but the battle strong. But time and chance happen to us all. Solomon observed that life that isn't fair, but those who stay focused and diligent will be prepared when opportunities come. I was telling Charlie before y'all got here, we started with like a dozen men 3.5 so years ago. And I told him, I said, once after like the first couple months, I would print these out. And I was printing like 50 or 60, and we were having like 13 people here. I was throwing away, like, when I threw it in the garbage, it sounded like I threw like a ring of paper in there. I'm telling you. Cartridges are like $40. It's so stupid, by the way. But I have to buy probably one a month, probably, I would guess. Some of y'all in here are like techie guys. You're like, is he saving? Is he doing? No, I'm not. I'm an idiot, I know. But I'm just telling you that's what's happening. But you times 60, this morning I printed 80. So I had a gentleman call me yesterday and said, hey, you got some visitors coming, My printer ran out of ink. I had about 50 copies. I'm being super transparent. I already asked for forgiveness, so don't judge me. And I said, well, 4th of July is coming. It'll be fine. I got a phone call that said, hey, I got some guys coming. Blah, blah. And then somebody else said, I got a visitor coming. I went to Office Depot, bought another cartridge, went home, I printed 30 more. At that moment, I was questioning what God had prepared for some stupid reason. It wasn't the fact of spending the money. That wasn't a problem. It was just like that. What was my expectation of what God had? You know, I don't know if that makes any sense to you. So I get here and we got a full house, right? When God looks at us down, we look at him up. God tells us, do not let your distractions derail. Distractions can derail your destiny, period. We do things that numb us and keep us from stuff. A guy gets into porn. Why? Because he's not willing to put in the time and energy for his relationship. It's easier to do this than it is to do that. I'm not intimate with my wife. I get it. If you're watching porn, I talked to a guy this last week I've never talked to before in my entire life. He immediately told me about porn. I said, I get it. I totally get it, man. I totally get it. Like, we've talked about this. Like, I mean, as young, I've always been fixated to that. I get it. Like, I think women are pretty, right? Not anymore, Lindsay. Not anymore. Just you. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I get that. Like, some of us are driven that way. Like I was an alcoholic, right? I was driven by drinks. I never did pills. I never did stuff. And then I talked to somebody else and they're like, I don't drink beer. But they were on Oxy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Like, we all have our own things, right? But you can't, if we're watching something that's like whatever, there's no reason why our wife would be attractive or hot or we'd want to be intimate with her, because that's nothing compared to what this is. Even though you're never going to find that, by the way. You're going to have a lot of broken relationships trying to be fixated on that, but it's where our mind gets drawn into. But we do stuff. The alcohol for me was numbing. It made me separate, but it was only for a season. Like, it was for a night. And then I needed more, so I just did more, and that's where the problem really extended out to. When you look at this, it says distractions can derail your destiny. Those addictions, those people we're hanging out with, sometimes as family members we're around, those are distractions. The excessive hanging out with the guys, or the excessive working on your personal projects, or hunting, or golf every time you're off work, or whatever that is, like, those are distractions. Worrying about playing your money and trying to do this, obsessed with how to make the extra dollar. It's distractions. Like, focus on the game. Be obsessed with it. When you get into the Word, don't brag to me. Don't find yourself bragging because you tell somebody you've read the New Testament this week. Okay, you can read fast. What are you doing with it? I don't care. I'd rather read one verse and speak to 10 people about Christ than I would a whole chapter and not tell anybody about him. I'd rather read one verse and apply it in my life than go to Dan over here and say, man, are you up on the... Oh, yeah, I'm reading ahead. I'm way ahead. I've read 4 books this week. I'm like, I mean, are you smart? You're smarter than me? Is that what you want to hear? I mean, I don't know. I'm not being ugly, right? But we can't be distracted by what everybody else says is good, because that's really average. God was very specific in sending his son down the cross for our sins, not so we could just... It'd be a pretty story or a blockbuster hit movie, but it was so you could understand that somebody loved you so much that they would give their son to sacrifice so that you could spend eternity in heaven with him. Average is the enemy of greatness. So I said, wisdom is better than strength, but the wisdom of the poor man is despised, and his words are not heeded. Wisdom and diligence often go unnoticed, especially when people choose flash over faithfulness. Settling for average is a spiritual issue. It's choosing to live below your calling and capacity. That's why you can't... You ever heard where people say, try to surround yourself by people that are better than you? Right? Going to baseball games with Carter and his team, they would be on a run. Y'all know any sports this way, right? You're on a run and they're just kicking everybody's teeth in. Like, they can't be beat. Like, everybody, right? in pro sports, whatever, right? But then they'll play a team that's not that good, that don't win very much, and what happens? What happens? They lose. Why do they lose, Carter?
Because they want more. They're not complacent.
And the good players, they kind of play down a little bit. Does that fastball take a little speed off of it?
Yeah.
Right? They played somewhere this last year, and all I heard, this is like you hear it every year. Man, them fields aren't but 100 feet. Like, right? Home run alley. You know, all you hitters are over here already like stretching everything a little bit. But they ain't gonna really put it into practice. They don't need it. It's like a little league field, bruh. Right? Getting up there, and they just know, like, I don't care what this kid throws me. I'm fixing to hit the lights with it. That happened to us. They had 0 home runs that game. They were on a run, but that's just one example. You see what I'm saying? Nothing against the other team, but you can't have Christ. Mitch can't be a saved person, have Christ in him, and expect somebody that's lost to bring him up. They're going to bring you down. You speak to them, and you witness to them, and you be that guy, but you can't let them influence you because they're going to bring you to average. You see, we have Christ living within us. Like, we're at another level. We don't go around, we're not like. But we have to be that person in that circle. We can't be lost down here. We have to. It has to be shown that Randy is like that dude. He's got it. Like, he's got God. Like, you can feel it, you can see it, and the people around him feeds off of that. Like, that's not being average. That's being great. When you read into that scripture there, wisdom is better than strength. God wants us to not just be wise about our words, like what we read, but he wants us to be wise about our the things that we've overcame, and the tribulations, the trauma, whatever. He wants us to have that wisdom from that. That's why I've talked to y'all and y'all have talked to me, like, you use those things that hurt you so bad. If God's forgiven you and you've achieved above that, you get to use that uniquely to yourself in your testimony to then put into somebody else about how you, through Christ, got through X. Right? I quit drinking, cold turkey, stopped with Christ. Because some people get upset. My wife used to tell me that I couldn't say that because I didn't go to rehab, and I didn't do that, right? She said, you can't say it because other people may not be able to do that because, you know, they may kill them, right? I said, I understand that, Lindsay, but I cannot not share my story. You said to where I'm hurting somebody's feelings or offending them. Like, they have to decide their own deal, right? I couldn't do it because I was fixing to file. I was 60 days from filing bankruptcy and losing everything. I just started a new job. Like, I couldn't do it because I couldn't do it. I couldn't go to rehab. If perfect scenario, maybe I'd have went to rehab, right? But you don't know where I was at in that season of life. I still had bill collectors calling me nonstop. Like, I'm telling you, like, it was either do that or just jump off a bridge, or pull the trigger. Finally, pull the trigger. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was one or the other. So the only one that would talk to me, the only one that would listen to me, was him. Y'all weren't here yet. Lindsay didn't have the capacity to do it. You see? So when somebody says, practice, bruh, you don't know. I done been on the court so many times. But I'm going to go back tomorrow too, you see. Because I'm not going to show up to a game and play down to anybody. I have to dial myself back. Y'all can probably imagine at work and stuff, doing my thing, because I'll do whatever somebody else will do. I'll go further just because my mind only thinks that way. You gonna carry 2 chairs? I'm gonna carry 4. I don't care if you look at me or not, or notice I'm doing it. I'm just going to do it. You can act like Carter. I have to dial myself back with the kids. Because we got to maximize our opportunity in life, because we get an incredible opportunity to share Christ with other people. I get a second chance. So not hopefully, but through Christ, I don't want to be average, because who wants to be average? Like, how is that attractive to a lost person? I want to show them greatness, overcome. Oh, you used to do that? Yeah. And then I want them to understand my story. I want them to understand your story. How can you not hate God? You lost your wife. How can you not hate God? You lost your child. How can you not hate God? Well, because quit blaming everything on Him, for one. You lost your job. How could you still go to church? Because I ain't average thinking. I'm thinking of a kingdom. I'm thinking of a home that I'm headed to. You see? You're thinking in the moment. You're thinking worldly. You're thinking small. I'm not thinking small. You're poor right now. You're broke right now. We serve a God that can bless you 10 times in the same season, from Scripture last week. Serve Him in that season and see what happens in the next. Because He's going to put us great in the platform that He sees us expanding the most into, if you're really seeking Him. You may be a teacher. It may be a coach. Maybe a truck driver. Realty. It may be missions. It may be whatever. Whatever it is. Your greatness is there. You have to be great because you have Him in you. Your work becomes your identity. So work hard and work holy. Somebody's like, oh man, this dude's done talking about work. That's you. That's our limitations. Work is not 9 to 5. Work, when they say the word work, guys, what I'm saying there is work is everything that you do. It's not a paid job. Work is that you see that there's a ton of opportunity, and if we spend as much time and energy and dedication and devotion to our work, because we're taught that way to work hard. I worked full-time hours in high school. That's from the old school. A lot of y'all did too. A lot of y'all got some stories where y'all worked super hard. I never knew a 4th of July. I never knew a Memorial Day. I never knew a Labor Day, a President's Day, a Columbus Day, New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, every holiday, because I was in retail. I always worked. Like up until a year ago, I've never been off on a holiday. Up until a year ago, I've never had 2 weekends off in a row since I was 15, 1995. Up until a year ago. I kid you not. Some of y'all know that. Y'all know that. I got it, and I was like, I got home on the weekends, and I didn't know what to do. I'll be honest, like some of y'all, they never worked. Like I promise y'all, like I was like, what's everybody doing? Who's college football fans? Who's the sport? Who's Georgia over there? NFL, right? Some of that. Any of y'all go to football? Do any of y'all go to a lot of college football games? Some of y'all. Up until a year ago, I had never watched a college football game on a Saturday at home, or like really. I've always been at work. Why do I share that with you? Because I could totally sell myself out for work and stuff, but that's not it. God says, hey, why don't you treat everything with that same diligency and that like work at being a better Christian, work at being a better brother, work at being a better father, husband, whatever those things are in your life, like work harder at those, not just as an employment. When it says whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your strength. Like I said, don't halfway do it, guys. Let's not halfway do it, right? If you're going to come to Fight Club, don't come to Fight Club at 6 o'clock. Get here at 5:45. Well, it's early. Okay, I get up before 13. Some of y'all guys got up at 4 o'clock this morning, right? I get it. I know it's early. I get it. But I'm going to tell you, if I moved it to later, it doesn't mean more people will come. It's a mindset, right? Sometimes we lose our job, we lose our spouse. It takes somebody with some will and some drive and to get their butt up in the morning and go about the day with a positive attitude and says, I got this today. and to pray to God in the morning and say, I got this. When everything else in your world tells you, you don't got it. Your life sucks. I mean, really. But you're like, no, I believe in a God that's bigger than this. I got it. Because something's going to happen. God's going to deliver. Something incredible is going to happen. Christ calls us to be the men who are not lukewarm, but are on fire for the calling He's placed in us. At the very bottom of this here, it says, don't die full of potential, die empty. I thought this was really good. Having poured out all God has put inside you. Don't die full of potential, die empty. Don't say I'll try, say I'll do. Trying is already setting yourself up for an excuse of why you're not going to do it, you can't do it, or you already have low faith that you will fail. You're already building excuses up. I'll try to quit drinking. I'm like, hey, you're not going to quit drinking, idiot. You're a liar, right? I mean, let's be serious. I'm going to try to lose some weight. But no, you're not, bro. Like, I know, you ain't got, I can see it in your conviction. You already thinking about them Krispy Kremes over there. You know? I think I'm gonna try to start, try to start running. Come on. I'll try to be a better man. I'll try to be a better Christian. I'll try to go to church. I'll try. Try, don't do it, right? Average is the enemy of greatness. Guys, I give you this because you're not average. You're not average. Don't accept it. Remove the lies that Satan says. He came to steal, kill, and destroy. Don't listen to that garbage. You are not average. You serve the creator of all things. Like, that's not average. Accept that into your hearts and be great, because that's what God calls you to be. Be great. Don't worry about what these people are doing. They ain't you. You. Practice? Bruh. Practice. Have that same mindset about your walk with God. Bro, you just don't know. While you sleeping, I'm shooting. While you're on your phone, I'm in the Word. While you're daydreaming or screwing off or doing whatever, I'm praying. Practice. Nah, I'll be ready, bro. Just give me the ball. Give me the ball. Thank y'all. If you will, hit your question.